Phumelele, thank you so much for your time. But let's talk about how we had an opening there for a moment. We did have the president as well give an introduction not so long ago. The sentiment out of that and the sentiment from the exhibition and the conference thus far.
All right, Arabile, it seems like there's a lot of excitement here at the Inkosi Albert Lutuli Convention Center in Durban. The president did speak a lot about the fourth industrial revolution, saying that with a lot of legislation that comes out of the African continent, they need to take into consideration the fourth industrial revolution and technological advancements that are taking place instead of stalling and sort of hindering those processes. And that's in order to make innovation a little bit faster. And one of those innovators is joining me right now here at the ICC. Her name is Lerato Khatle, and she is one of the founders of Young MD. Hello, and thank you very much for joining us, Lerato.
Thank you so much for having me.
Were you happy with what the president said earlier?
Definitely I was. I think it's important to highlight that innovation is a huge tool in making sure we innovate correctly for South African people. I think the government needs the resource of innovators to ensure that we provide services that people in South Africa need. And that's exactly what Young MD is also trying to do.
What does Young MD do?
So I'm a medical doctor by profession, and Young MD is a health management, health solutions, innovations company. And what we do is we innovate for systems and people involved in healthcare systems. And what that means is for a doctor like myself who's working in a hospital, I can engage with all of the many systems I need to provide the service of healthcare on my telephone or my smart device. And that means I can engage with the contact better. I feel more at ease while working, but I provide a better service. It's important to highlight that in South Africa right now, we are losing the resource of healthcare workers, and Young MD's heart is really to restore the resource by empowering them through this app, but also through our services like orientation systems and mentorships. We recently launched a mentorship program called Young MD Cultivate, where we are daring doctors across the country to be great and engage in innovation as a tool to transform the space they work in so that we can serve the greater South African population.
How does a mobile phone empower a doctor?
Oh my word, it makes life easier. Just like for anybody who needs to communicate using WhatsApp or social media. Imagine being in a hospital space where you know you can access the information you need about your patient at any time, making sure that it's standardized so no patient needs to remember what their medication is. We don't have to wonder what the previous investigations are. We can access this all in one space on a server that the doctor can use at the bedside. So just having bedside management change from just paper-based tools helps the doctor a lot on a day-to-day.
Now you are here at ITU World Telecom.
Yes.
Why did you decide this was the right space for you?
I thought it was time for Young MD to grow in the innovation space. I think my heart has always been to understand how I can be a problem solver, and business and innovation has given me the vocabulary to translate that. And so ITU was an opportunity that was presented to me where I can share what it is we're trying to do for South African healthcare, whether it is in the cities or in the rural space, because this is a need now. If we don't start addressing the resource of the medical doctor, you can imagine in the advent of the NHI how challenging it would look if we had all the financial resources but no actual human resources that are willing to back it up. And that's what we want to see happening. We want to see human resource empowered to remain in the public sector, but also allowed a free in and out re-entry if they do want to explore private sector opportunities.
I know it's day one. Is it meeting your expectations?
100%. Having been able to speak to the president was huge for us. Having been chosen out of 40 SMMEs to do that was a great opportunity. And I mean, for us as medical doctors, we understand the pain of the process. So really just also getting the voice of the medical doctor out there saying, hey, we want to help, we want to be here, we want to serve, but can you pay attention to what it's going to look like for us to stay in this space? And that's what we want to empower South African healthcare to look like.
Lerato, take us through the journey of you developing this particular app and for you to eventually ending up here at ITU World.
So it begins with a junior doctor who finishes her medical degree and wonders what it's going to look like to start working, and expecting orientation tools or systems to be available and finding none of that there. And then walking into a system where everybody is really dissatisfied, disgruntled at how it works, and wondering, but what would it look like if I had to tell a child of mine in the future, do they want to become a medical doctor? And the answer to that for many people is no, and it still is for me. But I was just not ready to have that be the answer for the next generation. I think it's important for us to be a generation that's accountable for our time and the space we hold, and I wanted to do the same. So I started with small things, orientation tools at my hospital, and speaking with key role players and identifying to them that what they've done is excellent, but can we do it a little bit better? You know, how they orientate is good, but there are better ways to do it. So that's how you get here.
Lerato Khatle, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you so much. much.
Lerato Khatle there is one of the founders of Young MD and one of the participants and exhibitors right here at ITU Telecom World. We will be keeping you updated on what's taking place right here as the Inkosi Albert Luthuli International Convention Center in Durban as the day progresses.